veins. As I slide on my chains, war scar shoulda David hanging from my chain. The world say we strange. Teach you how to change. One West, waking brothers up from the grave. Truth in my veins. As I slide on my chains, war scar shoulda David hanging from my chain. The world say we strange. Teach you how to change. One West, waking brothers up from the grave. Hey, remember this, man. One West, one West, one West. Hey, remember this, man. One West, one West, one West. Hey. Under Commander General Yohana, you understand? We out to bring nothing but the truth. All you perpetrators out there, man, be ready to be destroyed out there, man. We out here standing for our people. One West, man, 1969. Isupk. No cowards, no excuses. Okay.
It's nothing I.
Shalom, what's going on, Israel? Shalom. I'm saying history class, Kawan Palak, Isupk Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? We gonna bring out the history of America a little bit. We gonna go into the mark of the beast a little bit. But you know, first I want to get some news in Baltimore and what's going on. We can get the feel of Baltimore a little bit, then we can go in the Bible. You heard? Well, we can go ahead with the presentation. So we're gonna talk about the squeegee boys, man. What's going on with this particular case, man, in Baltimore with a squeegee boy. If you don't know what a squeegee boy is, it's generally a young black kid, disenfranchised black kid that are on the street corners, and they have what's called like a squeegee when you go to like when you used to go to like a gas station and you know, wipe off your windows with a squeegee. You know, somebody do that for you, give them a couple of dollars or whatever. You know, a lot of people say it's a service not needed or whatever, but at least they trying to do something to get $1 to eat. A lot of these kids are under 13, man. I've seen kids as young as 9, 10, weaving in and out of traffic with a squeegee, just, you know, trying to get a couple of dollars. You know, and in this particular case, it was the young kid, I think he was 13, 15, something like that. And this white guy is coming down the street, and of course, to white folks, and they going to their jobs, and they dealing with their situation in their life, those boys are a nuisance to them. They're a nuisance. So when the boy came up to the car, the man said, you know, get the F away from my car. Get the F out of here. I don't want nothing to do with you. No, right? And then the squeegee boys got angry and upset and started talking back to him. You know, and then the guy moves his car across the street, parks, gets out, grabs a bat to confront the squeegee boys. We're going to read a little bit about a news article. Go ahead.
Can we read this?
No.
Squeegee workers 15 arrested and charged as an adult in fatal shooting of bat-wielding motorist.
All right, so the squeegee boy in this case was charged as an adult because when the actual adult, got out with a bat and started swinging it at the squeegee boys, and hitting them with the bat, then of course they're going to defend themselves. All right, we're going to get a little more on it. Go ahead, my son.
Squeegee kid charged as an adult. A boy who turned 15 last Friday has been arrested and charged in connection with the fatal shooting of a 48-year-old motorist who confronted squeegee workers with a baseball bat.
Now, this kid, it wasn't a couple of days after this happened, he was charged as an adult. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even the cat that killed them 10 people in Buffalo, they took months to bring in a charge for him, to bring in a hate crime charge. They charged this boy as an adult immediately, even though he was the one being assaulted. Go ahead, my friend.
Police said the boy was arrested before 7 a.m. at a home in Essex, and he was transported to police headquarters with his father. He is charged as an adult with first-degree murder. The Banner reported Saturday that Timothy Reynolds left his car idling and crossed 8 lanes of traffic to confront a group of squeegee workers.
Good night. This man parked his car. This is the adult, the 40-some-year-old man. This is the adult. He was in no danger from those kids. He parked his car, got a bat out of his car, walked back across the street to confront them. What adult does that? That's somebody with hate in their heart. And that's somebody that means to hurt you. To get out with a bat and cross the street where you are. That's somebody who means to hurt you. Go ahead.
Reynolds can be seen.
No, I'm just saying it's how
Reynolds can be seen running at them wielding a bat. One worker can be seen hitting Reynolds in the head, and seconds later, another fired 5 shots at him. Under Maryland law, someone must be.
Wait a minute before you read that. Now, Trayvon Martin did a lot less than that when he was killed by George Zimmerman. All right, but we're not in that state. We're in the state of Maryland, and of course, all of the laws change state by state. Now you got this grown man who got out of a car wielding a baseball bat, swinging it at children, and it's on film to them protecting themselves. A 15-year-old should not have a gun. I have no argument with that. But if he did not have a gun, he would be dead at this point. He would probably be dead. I mean, imagine the body frame of a 15-year-old as to a 40-year-old man. Coming wielding a bat at children. Why couldn't you just go ahead about your day? He could have just kept going. That would have solved the whole problem. So what if a few kids say a few things to you after you curse them out like a child? Then a few squeegee boys say a couple of things to you, and you, hey, shalom, and you get out of your car wielding a bat to confront him, a child. You couldn't have just kept on driving and avoided the whole situation. But no, you had so much hate in your heart for these black children that you got out with a bat and tried to assault them. Now, on the surface, it would seem very simple. They were being assaulted. This man got out of the car, this white man, with a bat, swinging the bat at them, and they protected themselves. That's how I would see it. I saw the film. That's what it looks like to me. But let's read Merlin's Law and we'll find out why this young man is charged as an adult. Go ahead.
Under Maryland law, someone must make a reasonable effort to retreat before responding with deadly force to an aggressor. Self-defense cases are more straightforward when a shooter is confined inside his or her home.
You understand what that's saying? You understand? You had something to say?
No, sloppy, sir.
Okay. You understand what that's saying? This is saying that when this man got out wielding a bat can kill you. A bat will give you a concussion. A bat will kill you. Wielding this bat that they should have ran or retreated. Well, guess what? They're by a high traffic lane. How they going to retreat? What, run across the street and get struck by a car? How are they going to retreat when this man is wielding a bat coming towards them? But this is law. This is law. We gotta go to court to see. But it's one thing we can see very clearly. That's very clearly outlined in this story with this squeaky kid, is that the law treats us very differently from our oppressor. We're gonna find out why. We're gonna find out why that is. And in order to do that, we gotta go to the beginnings, man. We gotta strip back all the nonsense and go back to how and why was this country built? How was it conceptualized? What was the reason for it? And what was this dynasty looking to accomplish when it was built?
Let's see.
All right? You move on the gun.
All right. Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17.
Go ahead.
Oh, shit. Let me get that.
You get that.
Let me get that. I got it.
You understand? We're going to get back to the founding fathers a little bit and find out the details of this country. I think I got a little story back from World War II first. But let me know when you got it.
Got it, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Oh, go ahead.
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17.
Go ahead. You might have to speak a little louder. We'll come a little closer.
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help.
Our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. It's in vain to look towards America to help us. Because as we're going to find out very shortly, America wasn't designed to help us. And we can see what's going on around us, that our oppressor lives a very different life. He has something called rights or entitlements. You understand? You got to understand the difference from the old world and the new world. We're going to get into that in a minute. But go ahead.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
We've been looking, man. We've been looking for a way out of this hell. A way out of this hell, man. A way out of our children being murdered. A way out of being disenfranchised. A way out of not being able to have entrepreneurship in the very neighborhoods that we grow up in. Our neighborhoods cannot help us. We've been watching and searching, and we've watched and we've came up with, we're going to beg our oppressor for something. Let let me drink out the same water fountain as you. Let me hold your hand. Let me walk with you.
Right.
Let me be in the same building as you in. Let me just be around you. And maybe some of that good fortune and wealth and prosperity will come off on us a little bit, right? And then what Martin said,
right.
Accept us. We're human too. Aren't I a man and a brother? I mean, all of these types of groups have come up over the years. Black lives matter. I matter. To try to convince our oppressor that we're just like him. But we're not like him. That's the point.
Right.
We're not. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 18. They hunt our steps.
They hunt us, man. They hunt us. That cat got out of Grove. 8 blocks, though, what did it say? 8-lane highway, went across the street, got out, got a back, and crossed an 8-lane highway to come confront a squeegee boy who has nothing. He's on the street begging. He has nothing. He's been beat into powder. He's disenfranchised. Probably ain't got a goddamn home to go to. But I'm going to smash him and beat him down even more because he had the audacity to stop my car and ask me, can he do something for me for $1? They hunt us, man. Go ahead.
That we cannot go in our streets.
God, squeegee boys can't even come in the goddamn street to beg. But I tell you what, I'll tell you this. You can go on any block in Baltimore and see a white zombie begging for money.
Right.
Right.
You can. Any block. And I actually asked one of them, why do you come to poor black neighborhoods to beg people for money? These are the people that don't have the money. Like, wouldn't it be advantageous to go out to Prince George's County, or Towson, or Annapolis, where you from, and ask them? You know what she said? We actually get more money here.
Right.
They don't like us begging. We can't. I ain't even going there. Go ahead, guys.
It's a lie. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Look, our punishment is fulfilled, man. I mean, goddamn, how more do we got to take? I mean, when we read further down in the scriptures, they ask just that question. That question is asked, how much more? You know, but we won't get back to that. So we won't start going back now. Let's get to World War II. Let's get to this brother's story real quick.
In 1944, Corporal.
I got you, sir.
That tissue right there. I'm sweating like a
Big top.
gun. Why?
In 1944, Corporal Rupert Trimingham, a black soldier of the United States Armed Forces, wrote to Yank magazine to expound upon the racial discrimination that he and his fellow men had experienced during the war. In his letter, he upheld the notion that most black soldiers had realized at the time. German prisoners of war were treated much better than the black soldiers of the United States.
Good night of mine. Let's analyze that now. We go to war for America. The red, white, and blue, the home of the brave. We go to fight the enemies of America, right? It just so happens that on this day, the enemy of America happened to be white people, right?
Right.
We fighting and dying, and it's a lot of stuff that history don't tell you that came out recently. It came out very recently that it was a group of brothers that fought all the way through Germany to free those Jews, those white Jewish people. Fought all the way through Germany, had heavy losses, and I forget the name of the group. I cannot think of it right off. The Liberators. The Liberators, that was the name. And they fought all the way through mainland Germany to free those white Jewish people, man. You understand? Take casualties. Brothers flew planes. They had the best kill rate overseas. So much so that the French wanted brothers to come into their Air Force too. A lot of brothers went over to France and flew in their Air Force because America wouldn't let us fly first. But we fought all the way through World War II. And our so-called allies, we supposed to be Americans. So we supposed to be the Americans.
Right.
They treated the evil Germans better than they treated us. They wouldn't let us eat in the front of the trains. They wouldn't even eat with us. We couldn't even share the same facilities that they could, but the Germans could. Their enemies, they had more empathy for their so-called enemies that they shooting and killing and dying and murdering each other than they had for us. They always had disdain for us, man. And what else did this brother write?
German prisoners of war were treated much better than the black soldiers of the United States. He wrote one specific instance in which he and a handful of other black soldiers had to go to the back of a restaurant to purchase a sandwich and coffee, while about 24 German prisoners of war and 2 white American guards entered the lunchroom, sat at the tables, had their meals served, talked, smoked, in fact, had quite a swell time.
Good night. See, black people would look at this and say, this is wrong. This is a travesty. This is America. This is what America was built for.
Right.
What it was conceptualized in the minds of the Europeans for. We're going to get to that. Is that the end of that?
Come, sir.
So we see that we're treated very differently in this country than our oppressors are. We say that they changed. Things have changed. We've gained ground. I'll say that we haven't gained any ground at all. Situations may change, but the way they conceptualize their country and the way they want it to be, well, that hasn't changed, brother.
Right.
It's the same Constitution. There's a 13th and 14th Amendment that applies to us. And we'll get into that later. Go ahead, my son. All right, now we getting to it now. And the reason why I pick money to look at money is because we got to look at the models that's listed on the money, right? What do they got written on the money? Because these are their symbols. Every country does this. Every nation does this. You understand? We have a shield of David. A Magun will die.
Right.
That a lot of brothers rock. You understand? That's the shield of our nation. The Magun will die. Who's that? King David.
Right.
King David's throne. That's the throne that his relative, Christ, will inherit. Christ isn't going to inherit the Most High's throne like Christians think. No, he's going to inherit David's throne, the scepter of David.
Right.
Well, their shield is on their currency. All right? Go ahead and read, Matham.
A motto's purpose is to express the theme of a seal's imagery, especially that of the shield.
All right. This is their shield right here. When you look at their money, look closely at what's written on it. And I explained it to you. Go ahead.
The center section of this shield has 6 symbols for the countries from which these states have been peopled.
Did you have a question?
Slide.
Don't just stretch it.
The roads.
Read that part again.
The center section of this shield has 6 symbols for the countries from which these states have been peopled.
All right. The country in which these states have been peopled. So now we getting down to it. When you talk about the Constitution and everything like that, this is the people that it's talking about. These 6 countries, right? What was it, Madame? This is symbolized on their currency. The 6 countries. Now let's find out who those countries are. See, does it include you or us? Go ahead.
Countries from which these states have been peopled.
Mm-hmm.
The Rose, England.
England.
Thistle, Scotland.
Scotland.
Harp, Ireland.
Ireland.
Flower de Lis, France.
France.
The Lion, Holland.
Holland.
And an imperial eagle, Germany.
Germany. All right. So these are the people that the United States would be peopled by. It doesn't say Native Indians. You understand? It doesn't say the Negro. It doesn't say Mexicans or Latinos.
Right.
No. These are the people that the Constitution is talking about. When it says all men are created equal, these are the people that it's talking about. See, we get in our head because it say all men, that it means everybody. It does not. This is why the symbol is on their shield, their currency. Come on, man.
A pluribus unum describes an action.
E problius unum.
E
It
pluribus.
is Latin. E problius unum. Very important. That's very important. The many into one. It's Latin. It means the many into one. So it's talking about these 6 people, these 6 cultures or European nations came together to be one, and now they're one. So you're not Irish anymore. You're Irish American. You're not what else was it? From England anymore. You're England American.
Scotland.
You're Scottish American. All right? But you're American.
Right.
All right? And all of this many came into one. E problius unum. Very important. Extremely important. It's on their currency, on their shield. This is how they conceptualize their country. And why? Why? You got to understand. All right? The old world. We talking about in England, right? England, the Middle East, all of that. The old world, right? They used a serfdom type of society, meaning this. The kings and the queens and the Bruces.
The nobles,
And say again?
the nobles.
And the nobles, all of them were at the top of the society, and all of them, they had rights. You understand? You couldn't just go on a king's property, right? You couldn't go on a king's property and hunt deer.
Right.
See, you might be hanged. You know, you might lose your life. So, when these people came to America, they wanted a place where everybody had rights. Now, when I say everybody, what am I talking about? What's on their shield?
Right.
These peoples.
Right.
E problius unum, the many from the old world, the European nations, came together to form a new world where everybody would have inimitable rights, entitlements.
Right.
You understand? It wouldn't only be the kings and the queens that would have rights, and that would be enforceable. You understand? Everybody would have this right. That's we the people.
Right.
That's we the people. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sir, you made a point right there, because think about Germany, right? Wouldn't Ukrainians be a derivative of those Germans? Because they all of them are like Russians, though. All
Slavic
of them,
people.
yeah. So this is the reason why they getting them rights coming over here,
Right.
and they fast tracking them over here, because that is their people.
Right.
You understand? So that makes sense.
It was made for Europeans
Right.
to come here and to have these rights that they wouldn't otherwise have over there. They would have rights to their land, rights to their person, like without being killed. Like a king or queen over there, a noble, they could just kill you. They could slaughter you. It wouldn't be any charges. You understand? It wouldn't be, you know, just like how we get slaughtered here.
Right.
You could be a white person to be slaughtered over there in Europe, especially at that time. You understand? They wanted to have entitlements and rights like the kings and queens had over in the old world. So now we in a new world here, and they have their rights that is enforced by the law, physically enforced by contract and constitution. All right? Now, you got to understand that when these things were being written up, we were slaves on a plantation when the country was being formed. It was always meant to be formed on our backs, which is the reason why, if you look at the penny, the 1 cent, right? A lot of people think, and you look at on the back of it, right? A lot of people think that that's like the Capitol building or something like that, or the White House or something. It's not. It's not. It's the engine behind their country. It's a plantation. The second president's plantation, Monticello. Engine behind America. How they would generate their wealth. And it's always been that way. It's never changed.
That's right.
You have to have a peasant, second-class people that don't have any rights in order to secure for the people that do have the rights. Why? Because in order for you to be rich, I have to be poor.
Right.
Because everybody can't be rich. Somebody got to do the work. Somebody got to generate the prosperity while some people can enjoy it. That's the point. That's the whole point of America. In order for us to be equal, that would have to be a complete and utter revamping of the Constitution, the conceptual devices of America, period. In order for us to have any rights at all. Come on, let's finish that up.
That's great. El pluribus unum describes an action, many uniting into one. An accurate translation of the motto is from many, one, or out of many, one.
Out of many, one.
A phrase that captures the symbolism on the shield. The eye of providence.
The eye of providence. Go ahead.
Also known as the all-seeing eye of God.
Good night. What did that look like? That looked like Egypt.
Egypt.
Like a pyramid in Egypt. And America has taken so much of Egypt's symbolisms.
Right.
Freemasonry. Look, whenever you go into a courtroom, you see a scale. The balanced scales of justice, right?
Right.
Justice, the balance the scale. You know where that comes from? Egypt. Because when you went in front of Anubis, your heart had to be lighter than the feather. So he would put your heart on a scale with a feather. You understand? And your heart had to be lighter than that feather. If not, you go to the underworlds of hell. You understand? That same scales of justice is in the walls of Egypt, Doc. It's in the walls of Egypt. What does that mean? The Bible is true.
Right.
Somebody give me that scripture. You know what I want.
Which one?
Spiritually Egypt. What's that? Spiritually Egypt and Sodom. I should have had that right. 1 minute. I mean, I use this scripture all the time. It's a lot of you. I don't know why.
Revelations 11 and 8.
Yeah.
You got that?
I got it.
Okay.
Give me Revelation
11 and 8. Yeah.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 8.
Go ahead.
And their bodies, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
And their dead bodies. Their dead bodies. You understand? Freddie Gray's dead body.
Right.
You understand? Trayvon Martin. You understand? Our sisters and our brothers that lie in the street dead, man. Fighting for a country that would never fight for them.
Right.
Fighting for a country that would exploit, disenfranchise, and abuse us in perpetuity. Meaning for life, generation after generation, in perpetuity. That's what the Constitution is.
Right.
Read on, brother.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Good night. Spiritually, it's called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom because of the sexual deviancy. Come on, you see it all the time.
Right.
The homosexuality. You understand? The bestiality. The filth of the pole swingers.
Right.
And the whores, man. And the brothers who
Support them.
who whore and take a woman and leave her. Put her away.
Right.
Sexual deviancy, all about lust. You understand? Egypt. What is Egypt? Egypt is a place of bondage.
Right.
A place of slavery, a place of suffering, a place of disenfranchisement, where you're used up, man. You understand? Back in Egypt, the Pharaoh said, I ain't even gonna give y'all straw no more to make the bricks.
Right.
Go out and find it. And you better come up with the same production.
Right.
I don't care how you get the straw. Go dig it up with your teeth.
Dang.
That's what America does to us. They don't give a damn how we get the straw, man. How frustrated we are. Get to work on time, and you better be the last to leave and the first to get there.
Right.
Or you won't have a damn thing.
On some Ebenezer screw.
You work at the pleasure of people that hate you.
Right.
Come on, man. Not everybody can bounce a ball. Not everybody can entertain, you heard.
Right.
Not everybody can dance like Michael Jackson.
Right.
Everybody ain't LeBron. Everybody can't throw a football like RG3. You feel me? And they the biggest slaves.
Right.
But what you gonna do if they won't let you play? Come on, man. Was that it on that?
La, sir.
Would you want the scripture, sir, or you wanted the?
Was that it on the scripture?
No, I got like a sentence left, sir.
Go ahead.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Good night. Where also our Lord was crucified. Was our Lord crucified in America?
Come.
Yes. Yes. The same way they crucified Trayvon Martin.
Right.
When they said if he wasn't suspended from school, he wouldn't have been there to get killed. You understand?
Right.
And Michael Brown, he shouldn't have robbed such and such. He's a criminal. Same way they did, what's the brother from Baltimore?
Freddie Gray.
Freddie Gray. Well, he always getting in trouble with the law. If he wasn't getting in trouble with the law, he wouldn't be dead. They murder you physically and then murder your reputation.
Right.
To explain why they murdered you. Call Christ a white man, a homosexual in a Roman toga. When the Bible said he's an austere man.
Right.
Come on, go ahead, Mathon.
The Eye of Providence, also known as the all-seeing Eye of God, symbolizes God watching over humanity. It is perhaps the most haunting symbol on the American dollar bill, and certainly the most talked about. The eye is situated in a triangle with rays of light emanating from it. Above it is a Latin motto that translates to Providence has favored our undertaking. According to Thompson, it alludes to many signal interpositions of providences in favor of the American cause.
Good night. The American cause. What is this talking about here? This is fundamental to understanding America. Anybody ever heard of manifest destiny?
Right.
Manifest destiny, and it's hard for us to understand. I've heard Donald Trump talk about it. Manifest destiny means this, brother. And this is the, I'm going to try to give you the psychological intake of white folks and how they think. This is a movement, I believe, started somewhere in the, I think around 1843. Manifest destiny, meaning this. It wasn't 1843.
Remember when Chris?
Look it up on Google. Google it.
I'm about to say when.
What you want, sir?
Google it. Manifest destiny. Google that real quick. But let's get to their mindset. Yeah, manifest destiny.
Gotcha.
Their mindset is this. It's like this. No matter what we've done, Providence brought us to this. This is an act of God. This is what God wanted for us to take this entire continent of America. For us to eviscerate, if we had to, all the inferior races on this continent in order to bring about a nation that would enlighten mankind. So they believe that this is providence, a providence of God, that they went through this company, that they enslaved the Negro, eviscerated the Native American Indian, and pushed back the Mexican. These were things that had to be done because of providence. Well, this is very interesting. And this is the exact thing this is talking about. That's why when we talk about some type of reparations for slavery, this was providence. What are you talking about?
Right.
Give you back what? And you know what? That's in the Bible too.
Right.
You understand? The world was given into the hand of the wicked. It was. Where you at? WikiLeaks?
I'm on history.com, historychannel.com, sir.
All right, what they got?
Manifest destiny, a phrase coined in 1845.
1845, that's what I said. That's what I said. 1845. Don't mess with me. Go ahead.
Is the idea that the United States is destined by God.
Is what?
Is destined by God.
Mm-hmm.
Its advocates believe to expand its dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire American continent. The philosophy drove 19th century U.S. territorial expansion and was used to justify the forced removal of Native Americans and other groups from their homes.
Wow. A forced removal of Native Americans. So now they can take the morality off of them.
Right.
They can take the sin off of them.
Right.
And say, this was providence by God. Right?
Right.
Give me another part of that when they talking about race.
I got you, sir.
Go down a little bit. I think I read that. Go down a little bit. I think they're talking about race somewhere in there.
I got you.
Go ahead.
The rapid expansion of the United States intensified the issue of slavery as the new states were added to the Union, leading to the outbreak of the Civil War. They jumped into Louisiana after this, sir.
Anything else? Give me something.
You got something, sir?
Inferior races, I think it said.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be a little bit down, but I think I read what you.
That was the History Channel. But you said, I'm gonna check Wikipedia, sir, see what they say.
It might be Wikipedia. I might have looked it up on my computer though. But when you're dealing with manifest destiny, it says something about inferior races and why that was necessary. It was necessary to enslave and exploit the Negro. It was necessary for the expansion of the territories so that white people had to dominate the inferior races or extinguish the inferior races so they could bring mankind to some type of other enlightenment or other stage. You understand? And they've been saying this type of thing for years. I know I read it. I know it's in there. You know, I don't want to spend all day on it. If you can find it on Wikipedia, just let me know. We're gonna move on. Go ahead. You have to read the rest of it.
Come, sir. On the American dollar bill, and certainly the most talked about, the eye is situated in a triangle with rays of light emanating from it. Above it is a Latin motto that translates to "Providence has favored our undertakings." According to the Thompson, it alludes to many signals, interpositions of providence in favor of the American cause.
I think we finished that.
Come.
We move on. Go ahead.
Isaiah,
what is this?
beast of the field.
Beast of the field. We gonna go into this just a little bit. I'm gonna slightly deal with this. And the only reason why I'm gonna slightly deal with this is because people lately have been asking me about the mark. What's the mark? What is that mark? How do you know somebody has the mark? So I'm just going to explain briefly what beasts of the fields are. And this is important to understanding the infancy of America and how it works. So you can see our place in it. You understand? We already know that it wasn't conceptualized and built for us or everybody. It has on their shield the exact peoples that it was built for, and who it's supposed to be peopled by, who's supposed to have rights, and who do not. You understand? Let's deal with these beasts of the field. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 56 verse 9. All ye beasts of the field, come to devour. Yea, all ye beasts in the forest.
These beasts of the field come to devour. It's not talking about animals. Animals don't come to devour. Animals come to feed of instinct.
Right.
Because they're hungry.
Right.
This is not talking about an animal, a lion. This is not talking about predators. You understand? And when the Lord talks about his flock, he's not talking about sheep. He's talking about a nation.
Right.
The same way these beasts of the field are nations. There is a particular beast, the serpent, that is more subtle than any other beast. It doesn't say that the other beasts are not subtle. It just says that this particular beast, this nation of people, is more subtle. Give me Revelations 13 and 16.
Come.
And we're going to deal with this real quick and move on. I really didn't even want to hit on this, but it's important to understand when you have his mark. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
In their right hand or in their forehead. The right hand is your strong hand, your fighting hand.
Right.
We'll fight for this nation. We just talked about it in the beginning. When we talked about brothers going over to World War II, brothers volunteered. We wasn't even drafted back then. They didn't even want to let black people fight. They didn't want to give us a gun.
Right.
Because of what happened in the Civil War. We wouldn't put down them guns.
Right.
Unless them chains came off. We get them lies about the Civil War that white folks had a change of heart. And Abraham wanted to bring us out of slavery. That's a damn lie. But I ain't even going to deal with that. I'm dealing with this. All right? This is talking about these beasts. And these are nations of people. And these nations, subtle, a little bit under subtle, these nations, they hunt us. We went through it earlier. You understand? These nations of people, and we got all of the pictures of the peoples up here. You understand? These are the beasts that the Bible is talking about. Moab, Elam, Edom, and Ham. You understand? These are other nations of people. Read on, brother. (13 and 16).
Oh, okay.
Revelations 13 and 16.
That was it, son. That was it.
Read 17.
17. Verse 17.
Matter of fact, read that over.
Revelations chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand
or in their foreheads.
All right, the right hand is the strong hand. That's what I forgot. The right hand is the strong hand. You going to war. You go to war for America and the ideals of America. Fight for it. So-called freedom. You understand? That in your forehead, you have all of the propaganda.
Right.
And all of the national anthem and all of the pledge of allegiance and all of that propaganda beat and punched into your mind, as though we believe we are Americans. You understand? And when we stand for that flag and we stand proud and we go to war and we go over there and bomb and kill in the name of freedom, where we're not even free, where we're exploited, where we're mass incarcerated, where we're stopped on the streets, where they do more patrols in black neighborhoods than they did in Vietnam. We fight for this. You bear his mark. When you wear blue or red, and like we don't even see that these are the colors of Democratic Republic.
Right.
We don't even see that. But when you wear blue or red and fight for a hood that you don't even own, you bear his mark. You bear the mark of the most subtle beast. You understand? You bear his mark when you circle a rock 7 times and kiss it. When you bow down, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. You bear the mark of that arrogance. You bear his mark. When you call yourself such and such X, Malcolm X.
Right.
You bear his mark. You're not a Muslim, brother.
Right.
But when you do that, you follow his God, and the Lord said, don't follow other gods. We serve a jealous God. You bear his mark, brother. When you go around, woo, and you doing karate. Remember back in the day, the brothers with the afros, and we doing karate, and we going in their stores and buying their chicken wings and wearing the gi.
Karate.
We bear his mark. We bear his mark, man. Those are the beasts whose mark we bear. You can read the second one, and I'm going to get off of this.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell.
No man might buy or sell. When you go against the fundamentals of America, when you don't want your women swinging on poles, you understand?
Right.
And you don't want your men walking around with breasts and having sex with each other. You know what I'm saying? You get sanctions put against you.
Right.
Russia just had sanctions put against them, and this is a white nation.
Right.
You a Russian oligarch, they name you by name. They took your ship, took your plane. You can't buy or sell nothing.
Right.
You can't get no loans. You can't get no funding. That sound familiar, black man?
Absolutely.
We in our neighborhoods we grew up in.
Red line.
But yet people from third world countries can come in our neighborhoods, don't know the culture, can't even speak the language, but have successful businesses? That don't make no damn sense. Shouldn't I know what my people want more than somebody that's been planting a goddamn rice paddy all their life? Shouldn't I know what a Negro want and need? Maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Go ahead, Mr. Where we at?
Save he that had the mark or the name of the beast,
Could not.
or the number of his name.
Or the number of his name. Look, I ain't gonna spend too much time on this because I go on something else. So just understand this: that when you kill another brother, when you sell dope, you carry his mark.
That's right.
Yeah, for real, you're not a drug dealer.
Right.
You're a mark, a victim, for real.
Right.
Because, you understand, remember when they was trying to get the vaccine around the country? They had all them problems with transportation and getting the vaccine to different states and all of these type of obstacles. The dope never stopped flowing.
Never.
Don't you think heroin has to be stored in a certain way with a certain temperature or it goes bad?
Right.
Baltimore uses 25 metric tons of heroin daily, brother. How does that get there? Is that a few private planes dropping it off? Brother, that's coming in container ships, man.
Right.
Come on, we gotta stop being so stupid here. Man, that stuff isn't grown here. It's shipped here for the specific purposes of disenfranchisement, to give us an avenue to make a living. Easier, hopefully easier, we would choose this because of the dynamic culture and music that they put out about it. That it would be easier than going to college and getting a job and begging and scratching and going through all of that. It would be easier. So a lot of brothers, a lot of aggressive brothers choose that route and they destroy themselves. That's put there, that's designed for a reason. All right, we can move on. That's how I need to get another a beer.
Gotcha.
Some of that Hennessy that's in there. Hey, you use my cup here. Or you can get another cup here.
Salakia, sir.
Yeah.
You want to go back to Lamentations 4 and 17?
Yeah. Did
Okay.
we already do that one?
Come on, sir.
Go to 18.
I'm just going to start at the top now.
Yeah, go
At
ahead.
17. I'm going to start at
Go
17.
ahead.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Yeah, we went through that. We went through that. We watching and looking and searching and begging for America to save us, the same people that put us in peril. You cannot have ascension or be saved from the same people that put you in the peril that you need to be saved from. That's ridiculous. It's insane what we're doing here. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets.
Wait a minute. Hold on, my brother. No. It's in the freezer. The third refrigerator. Oh, Salaki. Go ahead.
Lamentations, verse 4, chapter 4, verse 18. They hunt our steps.
Yeah, they hunt us, brother. They hunt us daily. We went through that. We move on. Go ahead.
That we cannot go in our streets.
Can't go in our goddamn streets. Squeegee boys can't be in the street. They want to lock all of them up. Go ahead.
Our end is near. our days are fulfilled,
Go ahead to the next one.
for our end is come. Verse 19, our persecutor are swifter than the eagle of the heaven.
Man, they swift. They brung charges on that squeegee kid before you could blink an eye. Before we could blink an eye, there was adult charges, and they want them kids in prison. They want them dealt with. Now, he's swift, brother. He's swift with his evil and his condemnation. Day and night they abuse us. Read on.
They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness.
They laid wait for us in the wilderness, on the mountains, wherever the hell we dwell. They destroy us. Go ahead. Wow. Ha.
Verse 20, the breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits.
Wow. Wow. Our whole culture, everything about us was taken, ripped from us. And now we trying to get it back. And what do they say? What do they say? They try to shame us. Right? Saying, oh yeah, you trying to take somebody else's culture. You saying you a Hebrew Israelite. You ain't a Hebrew Israelite. This is recent in you saying this. But it all matches up with the scriptures. Our inheritance was taken from us as punishment for our wickedness. You understand? All of this is biblical, everything we say. But we're shamed in the media, shamed on the airwaves, dealing with the propaganda, man. Read on, brother.
Of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
Good night. We live under his shadow. And a broad shadow it is, brother. A heavy shadow it is, brother.
Under his authority.
This country was built as a heaven for our enemies and a hell for us. We went all through. Hey, look, we can go through the history of America, right? But in order to understand the psychology of why everything was put together, man, we got to look at their symbolism.
Right.
The things that we looked at, man. And I think we proved pretty comprehensively, man, that this wasn't built for us. This wasn't built for us. Look, what do we have? The 13th and the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, right? One saying that slavery or indentured servitude will not exist unless, but if somebody is duly convicted of a crime, right?
Right.
My father once told me, man, in the genius of my father, right? He told me that whenever somebody say, but for, unless anything like that,
Or if.
but for, unless, if for, you understand? Everything before that is a lie.
Right.
You understand? So when they say slavery and indentured servitude doesn't exist, unless, except for, but for, if you're duly convicted of a crime, everything before that but, except for, is a lie. Brother, this wasn't a abolishment of slavery. This was a declaration of slavery. See, because the business model had to change. Chattel slavery was not economically viable anymore because Europe had stopped it. And the reason for that was the industrial age had came about. So they needed low wage factory workers. Nobody no longer needed chattel slavery when you gotta keep a gun to somebody's head 24/7. This was just a business model that had to change. That's all. That's all the 13th and 14th Amendment is. But we think it's some type of freedom. Freedom, we've been free. Free to do what?
Be free.
Live in the ghetto?
Right.
There's some people that's wealthy, right? Some people that billionaires, black billionaires, right?
Right.
If you think money is freedom, you're an idiot. Whenever you don't have your people with you, whenever you don't have a nation behind you, you're just an individual. An individual can have everything taken from him at any time. If my people ain't with me, I ain't got nothing.
Right.
We don't understand that. We don't get that concept. Because our social cohesiveness has been beating the hell out of us.
Right.
All right, where we at?
John, you want to continue on that Lamentations, or you want to drop at?
Continue on that Lamentations.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 19, verse 20. It's the end of verse 20. Of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
Mm-hmm. We live under his shadow, the most subtle beast. Under his shadow we suffer and die among the heathen. Now, he'll bring in heathens from Vietnam, Laos, Korea, where the hell ever. All of them will have rights. Not the rights that a white American would have. Not a right from the 6 people that actually people America. Not those kind of rights, but absolutely above us. We're given to these nations of people in order for them to get grounded in America, to have a business, to prosper in America. You see, there is a reason why when America left Afghanistan and they brought Afghanistani refugees to America, it's a reason why they didn't put them on the street and say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right, like they tell black people.
Right.
It's a reason why. Because if you don't have an avenue of prosperity in America, you will fall into criminality and poverty. Likely, the stress will be so much for you that you'll likely end up in some type of psych ward or in a homeless shelter. You can't come into America not knowing the language and prosper. It's impossible. But they tell black people, pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Right.
But they would never tell somebody from the Ukraine that. They come in with an automatic $800 credit score.
Dang.
They come in automatically getting a Airbnb paid for by the government. Automatically getting classes by some of the the top businesses in America like Microsoft or Apple. Why? Because they can't be left to their own devices in poverty. They won't make it. That's why the USA had a plan for all of the refugees. But we can't see that. We think it's black people's fault.
Right.
That you're in the situation that you're in. If you don't control any goddamn thing, and you don't have corporate and generational wealth, how in the hell can you control what's happening in your neighborhood? It doesn't make sense that it could be black people's fault. It's ridiculous. All right, where we at?
Verse 21.
Go ahead with it.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughters of Edom.
Rejoice and be glad. This is their heaven. This is their heaven. They ain't even glad in their heaven.
Right.
They ain't even glad that they didn't grounded us into goddamn powder. 30,000 black women aboard babies. We were killing, murdering each other in the street. But this cat still had to go up in the tops and murder and shoot up women in a retirement community. You know, on welfare.
Right.
They wasn't beat down into powder enough for him. What was his name? Jim Brew. Whatever the hell his name was. The black women wasn't beat down enough for him. He went in there and murdered them and wrote on the muzzle of his gun, "Here's your reparation." How the hell hateful can you be?
Right.
And you think these aren't the people spoken of in the Bible that says the world was given into the hand, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked? You think that that's not him? And that's not Dylan Roof, who walked into a church, murdered old black women and old pastors? They won't even show he was in that church for hours.
Right.
How he tortured them and sexually abused them. I mean, I heard that. I don't know if it's true. But he was in there for a minute. Only one came out alive that he wanted his story told. I don't know, bro. Give me a time check.
8:28, sir.
Who we go ahead.
That dwelleth in the land of Uz.
Am I sinning?
Come, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked.
Edom is drunken. Drunken on power. Drunken on his rights, his entitlements. He wants to expand white entitlements and white supremacy. As if it's not enough.
Right.
As if you don't own the most wealthiest corporations on earth. But still want black people crushed. It's the same thing. That's a completely, utterly moralist people. That when the people have been ground into powder, I still want them to suffer more. It's unbelievable, man. They believe that morality can be set aside for what they believe is providence or manifest destiny. We can set aside the natural human how would you say it? A natural human reaction to genocide. I'm going to give these Native American people blankets filled with disease, smallpox, and watch them die horribly and painfully. I'm going to shoot black people up with water or syphilis. I'm going to shoot them up with syphilis and watch them struggle and wiggle and die.
Right.
After I've signed an oath, a Hippocratic oath, never to harm. But that doesn't apply to black people. Why? Manifest destiny.
Right.
Everything I do is in service to providence. So that white people can move mankind forward. There are black people who actually buy into this crap. Like, what's his name? Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse was kind of,
You know.
can't speak right.
Yeah.
Can't get right. I call him can't get right. That's what I call him.
Sound like an old slave.
Yeah, old slave. Yeah, Jesse's
Peterson?
Jesse's,
Jesse Peterson.
Patterson, something like that. Peterson, probably.
Captain Tazariak was on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cat went soft for him.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
But Cat is a very wise man. Very wise in his actions, very calculated in his speech and how he do things. So I always go along with how he do it. All right, we can go ahead on with that. Where we at? Time.
8:32.
We got us hot.
Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 22. The punishments of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion.
Wow. The punishments, think about that. The punishments of thine iniquity are accomplished. That's a beautiful thing for us.
Right.
Have we suffered enough?
Right.
And I think if we went down a little bit more on lamentation, it would explain a little bit more than that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us has woken up to the fact that we can't depend on nobody else but the Most High.
Right.
We can only look to each other for salvation, for happiness, for the answers. We can only count on each other and the Most High. Because at this point, our punishments are coming to an end. And our enemies know this. And this is why they go so hard.
Right.
There are multiple things in place that are taking a toll on this country, on the infrastructure, the food system, just about everything. The economy. Good night, man. You got monkeypox coming. Monkeypox. I heard it came from what? Man-on-man sex? Is it?
That's what they said.
You don't think that that's providence? You don't think something's going on in the earth?
Right.
Right.
Just at a time when it's okay to be this.
Right.
I can choose my sexuality. I don't care about what you think about me. Being a woman is not about your genitals. Is being a woman that weak, that fragile? that is not about your genitals. Right. You can be a woman and have a different type of genitals and still be called a woman.
Right.
Somebody can dig your filthy, dirty, disgusting bones up 150 years from now, and they don't know what the hell you thought in your goddamn head about what sex you are, but they can sex you according to your bones.
Right.
And you will be a man. Idiot. I ain't even going there. I ain't going there. What we gonna do, if there's no questions on the line, we gonna go ahead and shut it down. You know what I'm saying? We at what, 8:35? Yeah, we gonna go ahead and shut it down. You know what I'm saying? The water for tuning in. Isupk Baltimore. History class. I'm gonna turn the class over to Bathum Shikari. Wow.
Excellent class, excellent class. I learned a little bit tonight. I always learn a little bit with Officer Kawan, Police Officer Kawan teaches that class. That was an excellent class, you know. I took a couple of notes myself, you know. Security announcement. We're the Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Your Honor. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if the brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from their head to marry. Which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. It means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'aisha. 10th of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department of Teacher, Priest Fund, a free will offering for the priest. Not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give up and coming holy convocations. Alright. Memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. Memorial blowing of the trumpets is coming up. Remind Akim and Aquavian to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for Isupk events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Amajim, Shabbat, Amajim, Barak,
How about Shimmy Al Shab Rakatah?
How about Shimmy Al Shab Rakatah? Got your matah, class dismissed.
Something to follow, had loyalty, every man tried to borrow, felt pain, and a lot of sorrow, got betrayed so bad, I didn't even have my